Legend become a legend? We had this kid in our school named Derek who barely spoke a word. Quiet, hoodie up every day, sat alone at lunch, never raised his hand. If you didn't have a class with him, you probably wouldn't even know he existed. But those of us who shared a schedule knew the guy was scary smart, especially at math. He was the kind of kid whose homework got passed around before tests. More than once, a teacher used his assignments as the grading key. Still, he stayed invisible. Never bragged, never joined any clubs, never even looked up from his desk unless called on. Then came AP Calculus. Our teacher, Mr. Hoffman, was infamous. He'd randomly call on students during lectures and mock anyone who didn't have the answer immediately. Not light teasing either, full-on public humiliation. He once made a guy cry during a pop quiz review. It was a cold Tuesday morning when it happened. Mr. Hoffman was in rare form, tearing through problems on the board, peppering the class with questions like he was trying to thin the herd. Then he turned and called on Derek. "Derek," he said, tapping the chalk on the blackboard. "Let's see you solve this one." He wrote out this monster equation. Long, dense, intimidating just to look at. Everyone turned in their seats. You could feel the room lock into silence. Derek didn't flinch. He stood up, walked slowly to the board, and just stared at it. No twitch, no awkward fidgeting, just calm. Then he reached for the chalk. But instead of solving it, he erased the equation completely and wrote something different. A new equation. Same topic, but cleaner, tighter, like it had been debugged by a machine. Then, quietly, he said, "The original problem can't be solved. The equation doesn't make sense in this context." Mr. Hoffman froze. Derek turned slightly. "You're asking for a real solution, but the function only crosses the axis in imaginary space. It's undefined where you're asking us to evaluate it." It was like watching someone pull the curtain back on the wizard. Mr. Hoffman's face turned red. "Are you saying I made a mistake?" "Yes," Derek said simply. What followed was 5 minutes of Derek breaking down the math behind the mistake, calmly walking the class through it line by line. It wasn't arrogant, it was clinical, like he was teaching. Mr. Hoffman tried to argue, but Derek already had it laid out. At one point, he paused and handed the chalk to Mr. Hoffman. "You can try plotting it," he said. "You'll see." Mr. Hoffman didn't. He walked over to his desk, flipped through his notes, checked the textbook, dead silence. Then he muttered, "Class dismissed," and left the room. That's when everything changed. Nobody laughed or clapped. We just sat there trying to process what we'd seen. Derek went back to his seat, pulled his hood up, and opened his notebook like nothing had happened. By lunch, the story had already spread. Someone made a meme. Someone else made a fake rap battle flyer. Derek versus Hoffman. Final showdown. Even the seniors started nodding at him in the hallway. A few days later, a junior walked up and asked him for help on their stats homework. He helped them without saying much, just circled a few things and handed the sheet back. Teachers started calling him Mr. Derek as a joke. Mr. Hoffman stopped cold calling people in class. He still taught, but the energy was different. He even made a point of checking problems twice before writing them on the board. Then, about 2 weeks later, we had a substitute in AP Calc. Mr. Hoffman was out sick. Nobody knew if it was real or if he just needed a break. During that class, Derek walked up to the front during a group exercise, grabbed a marker, and started writing out a shortcut to a problem on the whiteboard. The sub just watched. He didn't say anything. He just stepped aside. After that, even the freshmen in pre-algebra knew who Derek was.